when it comes to hiring a virtual assistant, the easiest way to figure out what you want to outsource is look at all the things that are draining your energy and they aren't actually making money for you. Hello and welcome back to the Beauty Industry Leaders podcast. I'm your host, Sammy Kennedy, and today we've reached the final episode of our 5-part CEO series where we've been breaking down exactly what the smartest beauty CEOs are doing to stay ahead in 2026. If you've been tuning in since part 1, you'll know we've covered burnout, scalable business models, marketing funnels, financial mastery, and now we're diving into one of the biggest game changers for growth, which is your systems. More specifically, why trading micromanagement and trying to do everything yourself for streamlined systems is what separates stressed out salon owners from strategic CEOs. And joining me to unpack this is none other than Elli, founder of Beauty Business Society and the queen of sustainable systems and scalable team performance. Elli, let's kick things off on a high. Is there a client win that you're super proud of lately that we can celebrate on the podcast?
Absolutely. I know this one straight off the bat of my head. Straight off my head. I have this incredible team in Adelaide, TLB, Laser Skin Lashes Clinic, and I will celebrate them until they have the award in their hands because I believe in them so much. They actually became finalists in the ABA Awards for 2025, but not just for one. They were a finalist for Team of the Year. They're finalists for State Salon Spa Clinic of the Year for Vic, Tas and South Australia. And the most gorgeous therapist, I mean, they're all gorgeous, but Grace is also a finalist for the Junior Therapist of the Year. And I honestly couldn't be more proud of them and everything that they have achieved. I think we have worked together. I feel like I'm going to say a year, but it could be a little bit shorter. And the growth in this clinic is just phenomenal, from the business owner being able to step out of her business, which we're all dreaming of when you're a business owner. So you can actually focus on things to improve your business. But the team and their mindset, and they were really nervous about numbers, the team was. And obviously we've chatted about this in previous podcasts, and we've spoken about how you want to be transparent with your team and the costs of the business and so forth. And so we were really sensitive to, introducing them to figures and numbers and expectations and so forth. And Therese was pretty, just wanted to be so mindful that no one ever felt uncomfortable. So we take the soft approach, and I'm not a soft person at all. I'm pretty straight to it. This is what we're doing. And I honestly would say after 3 months of one-on-ones with these girls, I said to Therese, let's look at your numbers, because if we can show them that just, by focusing on our clients' needs and what we can do to make sure that we're servicing the client to the best of their ability, it reflects in the data and it reflects in the numbers. So we go back, and although we're looking at it, we're looking at each individual girl. And I said, you need to show this to these girls, because it's not about money. It plays a major factor, but when you are giving your client that exceptional care, the money will come, obviously. And so we go through all of this, and I said, you soft serve this to your girls, however you want to do it. And the next meeting that I had with Grace, the fire in her belly, holy macaroni, it was just something else. So every single one of the therapists in the clinic, including Therese, they all massively deserve this finalist position, and I'm just rooting so hard for them because they have worked so hard to improve every side of their business in the past year, and I wish that I could be there. I was there last year. I'm birthing a baby any minute. Could come on the 8th as well when the awards are on. So I can't be there, but I'm super excited and I'm so proud of them.
Oh, that's really wholesome. I remember when she messaged me and she said, I want to look at having a baby and I want to step out of the business and not be working with clients all the time. And I was like, yeah, that's not my area. Go see Elli. And now just to see where she was at before she even started through to now. It's such an incredible journey. And I think that what you're doing is so impactful because for a lot of people, they have teams and they have people that they've hired and they're still seeing clients. They don't know how to actually step away from that and focus on going and getting new opportunities for the business. So to see her step out of always being with clients, step into the role of being a CEO and then creating new opportunities, it's just really, really cool. My win for one of my clients, I love her. She is very driven. She does everything to the highest quality, like her content. She takes everything on a DSLR. She does the best editing. Her name's Gloria. She's from Glow Artistry. And instead of just launching a Lush training like every other person who's getting into training right now, she has niched within a niche and she's doing art of anime training. So she's launching this course where essentially she teaches people how she got booked out with her signature anime sets. And she does them all as handmade fans. They're so incredible. Like she's very skilled at what she does. And I think just working with her has made me fall in love with what I'm doing even more because when you work with people who are driven and you can tell them this is what you need to go do, like she's here, like done it. Look back at this, tell me what to do. And I just go, oh, yes. You know, she doesn't sit there and make excuses or like this thing came up, I can't do it. Like she just gets it done, just like you were when we were like, go do this. But what happened is she wanted to launch this course and she had this timeline. And I just said to her, like, look, if I were you, I wouldn't launch it right now. I would get some beta testers in and then use them as feedback and improve the course and get some testimonials. And then when you actually launch, you've got more social proof. All these other girls who are going and launching all these Lash training courses and online courses, they spend so much time creating the courses, but they have no social proof about their skills. Then they get really disheartened because, you know, they're trying to sell them for all this money and no one wants to buy them. And so, you know, I said to her, it's all about social proof. So let's get you there. She put up this lead gen post that we put together and she had 14 people jump on it straight away. She's got a lot of clients from the US, which is so cool. She's not just in Australia, like she's expanding. And she locked in her 5 beta testers. Then for all the beta testers, we've got them on a wait list for when the course actually launches. So they're like sitting on the edge of their seats going, oh my gosh, I missed out. Like I need this in my life. And then I helped her with her lead magnet. So I said to her, you know, you can't just rely on social media. We've got to look at how we're collecting people's emails so that we can retarget them with email marketing and things like that. And that's honestly what makes great trainers, educators, coaches, consultants stand out from everyone else is like how many touch points you have with people. So if you're just relying on social media trying to sell courses in today's world, that doesn't work anymore. So she launched her new lead magnet and that got 30 downloads within the first 24 hours. Like she's an absolute weapon. And I really look forward to seeing how everything turns out when she does her initial launch and then also over the next 12 months because her marketing's incredible. Her mindset is incredible. And she just has it, man. She just has that drive and you can see it in people. I think back in the day when I did pageantry and I was in it, I was like, how do they know who's going to win? And I think when I started running a pageant, I was like, it was so obvious who was going to win. And now I'm starting to find that in coaching. Like when you find someone comes to you, you just know who's going to make it in business. And it's actually their mindset and their drive. When you bring something up, like an idea or suggestion or question, like they're either curious, they're receptive, you know, they action it straight away. And I think being around that energy is really inspiring for me because I feel like it just makes you love your job because you know you're around people who also have that same mindset. Because for me, I always feel like I'm too much sometimes with other people. I'm like, why don't you want to better yourself? Like, why don't you want to go to the gym? Like, it's so good for you. There's so many benefits. Like that goes on in my head. I don't say that out loud. And I don't want to force my beliefs or my other things. But like when you attract people who align with that, you're like, oh, where have you been all my life? And I guess that's why we have the podcast, right? Like we attract that side of the industry of people who want to better themselves, not the people who sit there and complain about everything. And I just like, oh, love it. Anyways, so off topic, but
We can't
For
help
anyone,
passionate
I
about.
know. I need to chill, seriously. But for anyone listening who feels like they're constantly putting out fires and they're chasing stuff or just doing everything themselves, what does micromanagement actually look like inside a beauty business? And how can that like affect performance?
Micromanagement in a beauty business often looks like the owner being the go-to for everything. Like they answer every question. They're checking every little task. They're constantly reminding the team what to do. And they're feeling like if they're not there and they're not, oh, yeah, did you get that done? Oh, make sure you follow that up. Then everything's going to fall apart. I feel like it usually shows up when there's no clear systems and no accountability. And then the team hasn't properly been trained or trusted to take ownership. And I feel like the truth is, I don't know how they do this because it's exhausting, right? It just leads to them feeling like they've got no energy. They almost resent the team because the team doesn't feel empowered. And I feel like performance suffers because the team gets dependent. They don't take initiative to go and do it on their own back. They wait to be told instead of taking the initiative. And there's no real leadership growth in the team. Like if you're constantly telling your team members what you got to do, when to do it, how it looks, go back and do it again, like how are they going to actually step up into a leadership role themselves? And I feel like when everyone knows what they're expected to do, or they feel like they're trusted in what they're going to deliver, that's when you will create that culture of ownership. And that's when performance really starts to thrive.
I can definitely take myself back to when I used to work at Officeworks, and it's not the same as a business owner.
Seriously, the jobs that you come out with, Sammy, that needs to be an intro. Jobs that we've done in the past that have almost like come together and made us where we are now. Like, let's put that on the list to discuss because I feel like that would be funny.
Legit, 100%. There's been a lot. I did a sales role in a gym. But anyways, back to the story here. I was at Officeworks, and one of the most painful things that I remember to date is that any purchase over $100, you had to get the manager to come to the front counter and put their little card and password in to approve it.
Oh, really?
And anyone who
surely that's not
so stupid. Like, honestly, so if anyone's ever been to Officeworks, you know when you wait in line, and especially in the printing section, but you're just waiting there like, what are we waiting for? It's because you've got to go find the manager, got them on the headset, or they're taking a break, they're not going to be back for 5 minutes. You're holding up the whole line, and it's just like everyone has to rely on the manager to put that purchase through. And you know what's funny is coming from family business and being given the opportunity to be able to make decisions and empowered in a leadership role. Like if there's a customer complaint, I was given the opportunity of how do I handle that? You know, what money do I give them? Do I give them a gift voucher? Like I could make those decisions. In a job like that, you can't make any decisions because there's so much control and you just feel like you can never get anywhere. And ultimately, if you're someone who is a natural problem solver, then you get frustrated, right? Because you're like, we could make this better. We could actually improve this for the whole team. And sometimes, and I'm sure you've probably seen this until you've worked your magic, ego can get in the way of so much. And like when salon owners think that they're the only one who could do it, or, you know, you can only do it this way, and they're not receptive to things that may actually improve it, like it just bottlenecks and holds everyone back. So I want to know, what do you say to the salon owner who knows they need systems, but they just feel too overwhelmed or time poor to even start?
I get it. They're in survival mode. And I feel systems can feel like a luxury. So you don't have time for it. But the truth is systems aren't something extra. They are the thing that will give you back time, energy, and realistically control. So I think you can start small. You don't need to build everything out overnight. Pick one thing that's causing the most stress. And it could be how clients are booked, or how stock is managed, or how your team is rebooking, and create a simple process for that one thing. Start mapping it out. Processes over perfection. Every system you put in place is one less fire to put out later. And if you don't know where to start, or it feels too big, or you just can't even comprehend it, get help. You don't have to do it alone. I've even had business owners where I've said, if you think someone's really, like someone in your team is really good at this, give them the opportunity to map it out for you. See what they come back with. You can always build off for it. But by even you just asking that team member, hey, do you think that you could run the protocols for this? Or how could we better do this? You're now all of a sudden unconsciously empowering them and putting something in their hands that they then feel proud for. And you'll find that they'll be a lot more accountable for it because they've actually done it.
And they remember it too.
And they feel it. Like if you sit down and say to your staff member, hey, I think that you're really good at this. And if you have the time, granted, we don't have clients booked in, or, whatever, or you give them the time to do it, watch them take that job responsibility so seriously, because you've said, I think that you would be really good at this.
Oh, yeah, 100%. You're praising someone. You're not criticizing them or making them feel like, oh, I've done something wrong again. I've been handed this new policies and procedures. I've been working for you for 2 years. Why are you giving me this new sheet that I have to follow,
Yes.
For them, it's like, oh, we're revisiting it.
We're
we want to improve it. Yes.
We're together. Yeah. We're a team.
I think that's super valuable. One thing I've heard you say before is that you can't be a great leader and a micromanager at the same time. Can you explain what you mean by that?
Well, leadership is about trust and vision and empowerment, pretty much what I was saying before. Micromanagement is the complete opposite. When you're constantly hovering or double checking or doing it yourself, you're not actually leading. And when we say leading by example, you're just controlling. And that doesn't create any form of growth in your team. You can't expect your team members to step up if you never give them the space. And I think real leadership means that setting clear expectations, or giving your team the tools and the training they need, and then letting go enough for them to own it, is exactly where you want to be. It's not about being hands off. It's about being strategically involved instead of emotionally reactive. And when you start micromanaging, you create space that leads with impact. Again, what we just said before. You empower them, watch them flourish.
I think when you look at people who have a really high salon staff turnover, it comes down to them being a dictator, as in they're way too controlling, or there's the complete absence of them, where it's just like they almost expect to employ people and then just disappear and the business will run. And I think when you go to take on that role of growing a team, you have to get in there and work harder than you've ever worked before, because you've got to build out those systems and processes. You've got to guide them. You've got to lead them. And once they're up and running and they feel supported with those systems, they can step away. I don't know if you have seen this happen before with your clients, but in the industry, sometimes I think there might be this misconception that if I hire this person, I can just stop working and I can focus on doing something else.
I definitely think I've seen that before. They bring them in, they're not doing what they want them to do, and then they've got to spend more time undoing the things that they thought they were doing right and then doing more.
Yeah. Yep. And then instead of empowering them to actually thrive in their role, they just keep taking away opportunities. Like, oh, nah, I won't give you this. Or you're not going to offer that service now because you're not good enough. I know that is so toxic and it undermines the employee so much. It actually kills their confidence. And then you're wondering why, they go leave and start their own business. I think if you're someone who has experienced your staff leaving and going out and starting their own business and it's been not on good terms, it's actually a time to reflect on yourself. And I think that the best leaders, they go to therapy. They do leadership coaching. They work on their own mindset, because for you to be able to lead other people, like,
it doesn't always come naturally.
No, but also it's going to bring up the worst of you and the best of you at the same time. Like employees are a mirror, like dating is a mirror. How you show up today and who you are will ultimately attract other people that are like that. And so if you're unhappy, if you're reactive, if you're inconsistent, unreliable, you're not going to attract people who are all the opposite of those things that you want. So I think you have to become the type of person that attracts the type of people that you want in your team.
And I feel like some business owners, if they've been in this industry for years upon years upon years, they forget that our industry is such a young girl game.
Oh, yeah.
And when you're young, you're yet to even experience people from all different walks of life. You're still building your confidence. You're still working out who you are and what you want. And like when I say working out who you are, like when we talk about, personality traits, they don't even know how to consider what their personality trait is, let alone someone else they're talking to. So if you come in hot and heavy, and I feel like this industry, girls love it, but if they are put into the wrong business with the wrong manager or business owner who doesn't have all the things that we talk about, they are quick to jump ship and out of that business. They'd prefer to go back and work at Glassons or, Cotton On type thing than have to build their career up because their confidence has gone from here so far below.
Yeah, the toxic work culture is something that really needs to be addressed in our industry because some people never grew up outside of high school and it really shows. They go open these businesses up and they almost have that, toxic schoolyard bullying behavior.
Nervous.
It's not it. It's not it. Okay, so to get it back on track, let's get practical for a sec. What are some of the key systems or processes that every beauty business should have in place if they want to grow and scale?
I'm going to give you 6. If you want to grow and scale sustainably, you need strong foundations. And that comes from having systems that remove guesswork and create consistency. So the 6 non-negotiables for me is the client journey system. So from the moment they book to the follow-up after their visit, every client should get the same, elevated experience. That's going to build trust and retention. Team targets and performance tracking. So your team should always know where they're aiming for, whether it be each day, week, and then month. And then you have a system that tracks it clearly, whether that be your one-on-ones, your accountability check-ins, whether it be, a monthly strategy slip, however it works. Consultations and recommendation process. So having a repeatable results-driven consultation system, that means that your team isn't winging it and that your clients feel supported and seen. So I go through a high converting consultation process and every single girl, we'll have it on an iPad, and it's not like they meet with the more senior therapist and that senior therapist has, way better questions than the newbie that is efficient in what she's doing. It doesn't roll off the tongue as efficiently. I think stock control and ordering. So there's no last minute runs for retail or professional supplies. It's a simple stock system that your cash flow keeps you in control. 5, rebooking and future planning. So systems that encourage clients to commit to their treatment plan and help return clients. Treatment plans and return help create predictable income. And the 6th one would be your marketing and your promotion planner. So rather than posting randomly or having a plan that allows you to drive your revenue intentionally, stay visible even when you're busy.
Okay, real talk. If you're a beauty business owner and you're still doing everything yourself, from posting on socials to replying to DMs on the toilet, creating reels at 11 p.m. in bed, trying to keep your books full, lead a team, and somehow still show up as a decent partner, friend, or parent, this is for you. I created Booked, Banked, and In Demand because I was that burnt out business owner once. Always working in the business, never having enough time to actually work on it. I've now taught the strategies inside this training to over 300 salon owners who have gone on to triple their revenue, become the go-to name in the area, and finally get off the income roller coaster, burnout, and chasing clients. It's also the system I used to build a multi-6-figure coaching business and scale a 7-figure bowling alley in 7 months. Because once you know how to attract clients, convert leads, and create consistent cash flow in your business, it works anywhere. Inside Booked, Banked and In Demand, you'll learn how to attract dream clients on autopilot with the content that consistently fills your calendar. Lock in 90% plus rebooking rates so your income isn't riding a roller coaster every single week, and delegate the back end to a VA so you can step out of burnout mode, reclaim your time, and focus on doing more of what you actually enjoy, whether that's growing your business or taking a damn holiday that you know you deserve. So if you're tired of doing it all and ready to get more clients, make more money, and finally have more time freedom again, this is your sign. Click the link in the show notes and let Booked, Banked and In Demand be the last training you'll ever need.
So you don't need all the bells and whistles from day one, but you do need structure. And that's how you'll stop spinning your wheels and just start leading with clarity.
I think it's super valuable to look at the different areas of your business, because your business is one big reflection of the systems you build within it. Like marketing is such a huge one, because I specifically go into marketing. What is your marketing system? Well, you need a growth strategy, you need a lead generation strategy, you need lead conversion, you need to then have client nurture and retention. Like that's just the kind of marketing, client acquisition, client journey side of things. But love that you brought up stock control and ordering, because I've definitely had a couple of clients who they make a big cash month and then they're like, ooh, I'm just going to go buy all these new products. And then the next month they haven't projected their income. So then they're having this huge revenue dip and going, oh, wow, I could have really done with that $5,000 in my bank account right now. And so I love everything you're saying. And I think that's so valuable, and also something that will be great for us to go into more depth at the retreat, so people understand as the CEO, like, what are you focusing on? Because like there's so many things that you would never even think about when you're always in that treatment room. But the second you step away, you're just like, oh, this is a whole new role. Like it's a whole new skill.
The biggest one that business owners don't think about, and I feel like it's one of the most important, is a protocol when it comes to adverse reactions. Because that to me is one of the scariest things as a beauty therapist, especially when you're new or you're performing a new treatment. And if you don't have that protocol in place for your team, they're already going to feel under pressure. And then they don't have a step-by-step system. And then you're not answering your phone because for whatever reason you're in a meeting or you're at a doctor's appointment, you just can't answer your phone. That's when shit spirals. So it's funny, I reeled off 6 things then. They're all reasonable things, but like that is number one. I always say you got protocols for like adverse reactions, like relieve your staff of their stress and you. Anyway.
Have you had an adverse reaction other than that Fitzpatrick one that you told me about?
Oh, yeah. I mean, and it doesn't have to be a massive adverse reaction. It could be just the client's allergic to something and their skin's responded. But when you're in that flight or flight mode, the baby brain, guys, don't judge me. When you're in that mode, even though you know, all right, am I going to check for this, your head's not thinking there. But if you've got a go-to protocol ready to read and go, all right, I'm going to follow up on these questions here. And even like taking photos or having them sign something before they leave to say that they've done this, or, follow up. It's security not only for your business from a insurance perspective, but it means that the therapist is feeling secure as well.
Oh my gosh. The worst one that I ever had, I remember I was working for my old boss and she had these glue nozzles. Oh my gosh, she's going to be listening to this as it gets edited because she's now my podcast agency, but that's so funny. Anyways, the glue nozzle went on and I'd replaced it because it had a buildup of glue. This is eyelash extension glue. And I went to go put some more glue on the tile and the nozzle came off and just glue went all over my hands. And I just was like trying to get her attention, not say anything physically because the client was, eyes closed on the bed. And I was like, I don't want to freak her out. And then I was just like, what do I do? And like, I think sometimes in those situations, even as the boss or the business owner, you may have never had that happen and you've just got to kind of figure it out on the spot. Like, I think you can have all the protocols, but my gosh, when you're, put under pressure, sometimes you may not even have a protocol for that. And I think, where can people find where to create these protocols? Like, how do you figure that out? Because when I talk to people who come from, let's say, franchises like Laser Clinics Australia or something like that, they have all the protocols. But as a small business owner who, maybe branched out on their own, who hasn't had all these adverse reactions, they've done a few like, where does that even start? Because I wouldn't know where to look.
Yeah, I think that you need to reach out to your product people. Like if you work with Medicaid or payer or whatever, they should have adverse reactions or what to do in the event that this occurs. I would be reaching out to them first and foremost and seeing what they've got, and then building off that. For all laser, like Candela, they'll have their adverse response things, and then it just comes down to you then what fits with your business and to your discretion and how far you want to take it. And, things like making sure you fill out a phone call in the morning, make sure you have them get back in 2 days later to take a photograph again, make sure that you send them home with like this specific product, things like that.
I think that's really valuable information to know to do that, because I wouldn't have even thought to do that until something bad happened, I reckon. Then you're like, ooh.
Yes. All right, let me ask you a question.
Okay.
What parts of the business, because I actually did have a client say this because she listened to the VA podcast that you held, and she's like, what parts of my business as a beauty therapist can we actually automate or outsource to a remote team or a VA?
So when it comes to hiring a virtual assistant, the easiest way to figure out what you want to outsource is look at all the things that are draining your energy and they aren't actually making money for you. So, for example, if you knew you could make $200 or $500 an hour performing a treatment versus spending 3 hours editing a social media graphic on Canva, you could get the VA to build out that social media graphic on Canva, and then you could revise it or give it a few tweaks. It's about getting your time back. So I think when we're running a business, like, there's so many tasks to do. There's a never-ending to-do list, and a VA is there to help you lean on someone for some support that may not necessarily be able to help you in the same way. Like, your therapist may not be able to help you in the same way a VA can. So you've got social media, content scheduling, anything to do with client communication. So I have trained up a VA to help one of my clients. Pretty much the VA goes into her Instagram and messages all the clients. Like, if there's reschedules, if there's new bookings, like, she will manage the inbox, because my gosh, this business owner that I had, she just doesn't have the time, she's fully booked. And for her to take 2 days to reply when she finally has a moment to herself, she's lost the booking, or that person said they wanted to reschedule like the day before and she's missed that message. So a VA can help with that. You've also got things like payroll and bookkeeping. Andre, she actually did an accounting degree before, and like, you'd be surprised. Some of these VAs have gone and done some really cool stuff. Like, they can help go into Xero, send out invoices, like, keep on top of things for you. And I think above all, like, a VA is not going to magically fix all your problems. You do have to give them a level of support or some systems, but they're great at tracking data. They're like, if you give them a task step by step, boom, they will go out and they will go get it done for you. And I think if you're a visionary like me, you've got ideas, you're out doing things, you're going and winning opportunities, sometimes at the detriment, you don't have an executor. You don't have someone actually getting the things that need to be done in the back end. And so when you're really big picture, you're missing out on all the small important things. So that's where the VA comes in. So there's plenty of tasks. I've actually got a free guide. I'll add it into the show notes, which gives you an idea of what type of task specifically that you can outsource to a VA. But in simple, like, I would start with social media. And like they can do market research, chat GPT, they can go in and do ideal client profiling for you. They can load in your brand information. They can start mapping out content strategy. Like, I don't think it's AI or VA. I think a VA with AI is going to be such an incredible asset for your business. And then as you bring on those smaller tasks, they can grow in the business. They can have more responsibility. That's what I did with Andre. Now she's across everything. She's actually better at graphic design than me now. And I remember there was a very big stage where I was like, I'm so sorry, but this is not it, sister. And, just over time, when you get more clear on what you want and then also what you don't want to do anymore. Like there was a time where I was like, I really like doing the Canva graphics because I'm better at than her. But I got to a stage where I was like, I don't enjoy doing this anymore. I would rather write this into a Google Doc and then give it to her to edit. And so sometimes what you think you want them to do will end up changing. So it's just being able to figure out what you actually want to do in your business and then outsourcing the rest. Does that make sense?
Yes. Alleviating yourself from the things that you're not necessarily the best at.
100%. So let's talk about the emotional side of this for a second, because I know there's people out there who they don't want to micromanage, but they are really scared to let go. What advice would you give them?
The fear is normal. I mean, most salon owners I work with, they're not trying to control everything. They're just scared if they don't, something will slip or the standards will drop. And honestly, the fear usually comes from past experiences where things did fall apart or they tried to step back and it just didn't work out. But the thing is, letting go doesn't mean stepping out. It means stepping up in real leadership. So where you're not doing everything, but you're guiding, you're mentoring, and you're trusting your team because you've invested in the time to trust in them properly. And it starts with clear systems, strong onboarding, and the regular check-ins. This is one of the other things. Business owners think that I can do this, and once they've got it, they've got it. But you have to have meetings with your teams. So when your team know exactly what's expected and they feel supported and they're not being micromanaged, you'll find that they'll really rise to the occasion and that they will want to please you as a boss. And you don't build trust by holding on tighter. You build it by communicating clearly and setting the standards and giving people the chance to flourish. And I feel like that's where freedom and growth really comes from. I know that in the past when I've worked for certain business owners and they have said to me, oh, well, why don't you work that out and bring it back to me and then we'll go from there. And I've been pleasantly surprised in what I was able to achieve for them. And then with their recognition or is that the word I'm looking for? Their impressiveness? No. What's the word I'm looking for? Like when they're impressed by me, I'm like, oh, I can do this. And I'm going to try a little bit harder next time because I didn't get shut down.
Yes. And they want to work harder to continue getting that recognition, that approval, that validation, whatever you want to call it. I think when I look at what's happened with my journey with Andre, great example, is like there were times where I was the micromanager, 100%. I was sitting there going, no, this isn't what I wanted. Oh my gosh, why did I ask her to do this? You know what? It would have just been better if I did it all. And funnily enough, I've actually had a friend hire a VA and she's been the exact same. And she would sit step by step, write all these things, and it was never what she wanted. And I think when those things happen, it's really easy to shut down and go, you're not good enough. This isn't the standard I want. I'll just do it all on my own. And you slip back into that like micromanagement mindset without realizing. But I think great leaders look at themselves and go, where did I not communicate clearly? Or what skills do they not have that I need to support them with? And one thing I really love about what you do is getting the employees to give feedback, like getting them to explain what they think is going wrong, not just telling them that they're doing it wrong. Like get them to self-reflect? Like what do you think could be improved? Now that you know, what would you do differently?
Yeah.
And you kind of come from that mindset of like, oh, I could have come across as criticizing them and now I'm coming across as empowering them because you've got to shift the way you say things. That's what I've learned, like the way you give feedback.
Yeah.
It's a huge thing. We've spoken about that before. You can't just tell someone like, hey, this isn't it. It's like, oh, I really love the way you did this. If you highlight what they're doing well, they're going to want to do more of that. But if you tell them everything they're doing wrong, they're not going to want to work for you.
No, they're definitely not. That's for sure.
Elli, you've supported like so many beauty CEOs to create systems that actually work. For the person who's sitting out here going, oh my gosh, is this even worth it? Like, how do I do it? All of those questions. What are the biggest transformations you've seen when someone lets go of micromanagement and commits to streamlining their business? Like, do you actually have an example of a client you've worked with that was struggling with this and they turned the whole thing around?
Honestly, the transformations are huge. And if you've followed me or watched me and listened to me, it's not just about revenue or money. It plays a massive factor in the business, but that's not everything. For me, it's how they show up as leaders. And I've worked with salon owners who were completely burnt out. Like, I'm talking, they're doing everything themselves. And within a few months of building a proper system, they've had their team hit targets consistently. Their rebooking rates are improved. The client care is actually deepening because their team is feeling empowered. And like I said earlier, when we talk about finance and money, we've got targets and incentives. It all draws back to our client experience and making sure we've got good client care. But one of my clients went from chasing her team daily to just get the basics done, to her staff hitting 80% of their targets every week, and even coming to her with ideas. That was probably my favorite. And then the shift came from implementing structure and then training and letting go of needing to be in every single day and being all over every single detail. Another CEO that I had gained back 15 hours a week by automating her bookings. She created a rebooking script. She handed off her social media to a VA, and then she finally, I suppose, had the space to just have a big picture plan that we were able to kind of focus on. So I thought the common thread is when you stop micromanaging and you start leading with structure and trust, your team grows, your brand strengthens, and as a business owner, you get to breathe again. And that's when you'll find that your bookings will increase. And most importantly, the one that I'm most passionate about, the culture improves. And you feel really proud about what you're building.
And of course, we're going to be diving deep into all of this at the Beauty Industry Leaders Retreat in Vietnam next February. Elli, this day is your day to shine. I know that you're hosting an incredible workshop. I want you to tell us what Day 5 is all about and what our retreat guests can expect by attending.
Day 5 of the retreat is going to be all about building a high-performing team and setting your salon up to run without you. So we're walking you through exactly how to structure your team for peak performance. So from your role as a CEO to managers, coordinators, receptionists, therapists, will help you define the ideal team size, titles, and their clear roles and responsibilities. We are going to be looking at leading like a true CEO. So you're not just managing, you're empowering. That means setting up effective one-on-one meetings, productive team check-ins, and performance revenues that actually drive growth. And we'll also be looking at creating systems that run without you. So your policies, procedures, and performance systems so that your salon can operate efficiently and consistently even when you're not there. This day is all about freedom through structure, giving you the tools, the confidence to let go of micromanagement and step fully into leadership while your team thrives and the business grows. You're going to be walking away with clarity, systems, and a strategy that makes your business feel lighter and more in control. There will be no more chaoticness happening around yourself.
I think it's going to be so epic because really there's so many people who they either want to scale or they have a team and it's not performing or it's not scaling well. Like there's a lot of money going out, but the profit isn't growing. They're burnt out. Like there's just so much going on in the industry right now and people don't have that support. Being able to come to the retreat each day, you're working on one of the key pillars of success in your business. what you're going to get done at the retreat in those 5 days is probably more than what you would get done in an entire 6 months or year. Because if you don't have these things in your business, you are that person who's just running around like a headless chook, hoping for the best and then wondering why you're never getting ahead. So you do not want to miss this, especially if you're ready to reclaim your time, scale with less stress, and finally feel like the CEO of your business. And the reason why we keep saying CEO is because this isn't for the side hustle, the hobby mentality. It is for the person who wants to actually run a business like an entrepreneur, not someone who is just sitting here just kind of like winging it and hoping for the best. And then, I'm not really sure. When you step into running a business, it is a responsibility. And I think what I've learned over time is not everyone actually wants to run a business, but people like the idea of having something of their own. And this retreat is for the person who wants the business, wants to grow it, wants to make greater impact, wants to be seen as an industry leader, but also so they can give back to the community they're building with clients, so that they can give back to their team, and most importantly, create the life that they want. But I don't mean that in like a airy-fairy way. I mean it like genuinely. Like if you are building this business for becoming a profit machine where you can invest in property so that you could build something with your family, or you could go and travel the world, like you have to start with building a financially successful business. And what we're teaching you here is all the steps with the experts. Because look, I don't know it all, Elli doesn't know it all, but together, the value that we all bring together is going to be something that the industry hasn't seen before. So if this episode has sparked something in you and you're done being stuck in the day-to-day chaos, now is the time to make the shift. You can register your interest for the retreat via the link in our show notes, or if you need some support around your systems, team management, or client journey, reach out to book a one-on-one consult with either Elli or myself. We would love to support you. Thank you so much for tuning into this 5-part CEO series. And if you've loved it, please share it with a fellow business bestie who needs to hear it. And we'll catch you in the next one. Bye.
See you.
Audience exclusive.